I'd like to share one verse with you from 2 King chapter 10, verse 31, where it reads, "But Jehu was not careful to walk in the law of the Lord, the God of Israel, with all of his heart. He did not turn from the sins of Jeroboam, which made Israel to sin." Okay. So Jehu in this story has been called by God to bring judgment on the house of Ahab. At the beginning of chapter 10, we see that he is fulfilling the words of God and he is doing as God had instructed him. When we get to verse 10, we see that Jehu begins to do more than he was told to do. And so he goes a little further and slaughters the relatives of Ahaziah, which God never told him to do. Okay. Then in verse 16, we see where Jehu shows off his zeal for God. And he takes a highly respectable and godly man known as Jehanad with him when he strikes down the remaining family of Ahab and what he does at Baal's house. So we see that Jehu is beginning to get prideful, right? And he's beginning to show off. So that is showing us something about Jehu, right? Well, there's even more. As we go further down into chapter 10, around verse 29, we see that Jehu is not removing the idolatry right from his own land. Okay. So he removed evil, right? Which brought him respect and is what the words of the Lord had asked him to do. But he didn't remove the sin from his own land. What does that tell us about him? We see that Jehu was living in sin, right? And he was not careful to walk in the law of God, right? Or follow God wholeheartedly, as this verse says, as verse 31 says that we read at the beginning. And when we look at this, we see that when a person is put in a position and they are self-gratifying or doing things for their own fleshly desires, it could be dangerous, right? I found a commentary by Spurgeon and it said, hating one sin, but he loved another, and thus proved that the fear of the Most High God did not reign in his breast. He was merely a hired servant and received the throne as his wages, but he was not a child of God. He never was. That was Spurgeon's commentary on this specific verse, 2 King 10:31. And so we see that he eliminates one sin, but he keeps another. Okay. And that is a fine line that he was walking. So we see that there is something going on in his heart. He's not serving the Lord. He's not, and what I mean by serving is building a relationship. He is serving. He went and completed what the Lord had asked him to, but he was not in a relationship with the Lord because sin was getting in there and it was just taking over him. And of all the laws to break, idolatry was huge back then, okay, that the Lord did not want. And of course today too, but we could see where he was standing. And so with this word, I hope that you're encouraged to see that when the Lord blesses you in any way, that we are careful to pursue him in all that we do, as well as if he puts us in a position that we do not become prideful or get self-glorified praises, right? But instead credit God in everything that occurs because he's the one who's given it to you, right? And most important of all, he will continue to bless you. He will bless you beyond your thinking. But when we go through this, we need to stay close to God. And that's what Jehu's mistake probably was. We need to stay close to God because he will guide us and he will lead us in what we're doing. And staying in a relationship with the Lord and reading his word will always guide us and take us in the right path. Amen. I hope you've enjoyed this word and it was encouraging to you. God bless and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.